Hello, welcome to this mini lecture on polymorphism and interfaces, as well as a walkthrough of questions 1 and 2 on the worksheet. So, what do we mean by polymorphism, right? It's this big fancy word, but what is it? What does it mean? What are we talking about when we refer to it? So let's think about medical doctors for a minute, okay? There's a lot of different types of medical doctors, right? And they might all perform different procedures, prescribe different medications, diagnose different conditions, right? But at the end of the day, there's a certain set of things that we expect all doctors to be able to do, regardless of their specialty. Okay. Washing their hands would be one of them, performing some sort of intake exam, and having an understanding of biological systems. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter how the doctors do these things, right? The specifics are not what we're concerned about here. For example, a neurologist might perform a different type of intake exam than a pediatrician. They might ask different questions or, perform different tests or things like that. We're just concerned with whether or not the doctors, can do these things in some way. Okay. So let's think about an example here for a minute. Let's say that I need to go to the cardiologist for an intake exam. But when I arrive at the cardiologist's office, I can't remember the word cardiology. Okay, for whatever reason, it slips from my mind, and I'm unable to specify the specialization of the doctor, right? I can't verbalize the type of the doctor. So I can't say I'm here for a cardiology intake exam. But what I can say is something more general. I can say, I'm here for an intake exam. Now, what's going to happen in this situation? Am I like out of luck? Like, is the doctor going to like become confused and like not know what I'm talking about when I just say intake exam? No, of course not, right? The doctor knows their own specialty, right? The doctor knows that they are a cardiologist and that they should perform a cardiology intake exam. They don't need me to tell them to do that. They know to do that on their own, right? So, what have we discovered here? Okay, we've discovered a universal method for invoking type specific behavior. I can go to any doctor, right, and just say, I'm here for an intake exam. And I can expect that they will perform a type specific intake exam. Now, why is this even important and why does this matter when we're coding? Well, let's take a look at these two different types of code that I could write. So on the left, I have to specify a method for performing an intake exam for every type of doctor, right? And these are just, three types of doctors here: cardiologist, neurologist, pediatrician. I mean, there's so many other different types of doctors as well. And I would have to write a method for each of them. And that's very verbose, right? And also that makes editing my code really, really difficult, right? Let's say that within my intake exam function for here on the left in the verbose version, let's say I want everybody to like do something such as call in an assistant. Okay, then I would have to go into every single one of these methods and like add that in to all of them, right? Now, let's look at the right side. The right side is a lot less verbose, right? I am just doing an intake, one method for an intake exam, and it's going to work for any type of doctor. Okay. Now, if I have to add something to all of these, doctors' intake exams, I only have to add it in one place, right? If I need to call, do some sort of call to, an assistant, I only have to specify that in this one less verbose method. Okay. So what we're seeing here is polymorphism. Polymorphism is when one object can take on different types. Okay, so in the right side, we see that the public void intake doctor doc, that doctor right there can take on many different types. Okay, that's a single object taking on many different types. That is polymorphism. So, okay, now we understand what it is, but how are we going to make it happen? Well, in Java, we have something called an interface. And an interface is a blueprint with method signatures that define what an object can do. Okay. So over here on the right, I have my public interface doctor, and it is defining the things that we discussed earlier that all doctors should be able to do, right? Do an intake, give some sort of expert opinion, wash hands. Now, those things, the interface, will be implemented by a subclass that's going to define how those things will be done. Okay. So I have my neurologist, class neurologist implements doctor. This is a subclass of doctor that is going to uh, define how a neurologist should perform an intake exam or give an expert opinion or whatever. This is done by overriding all the methods in the interface. So remember, we override methods by using the exact same method signature. Now, here's just a note that I think is important. Okay, so a class can implement multiple interfaces, but can only extend one class. Okay, now how do you remember which one? Do you implement interfaces, extend classes? Just remember that the I goes with the I. Okay, so we implement interfaces and then we extend classes.